nervous to say the least, and went in, and this was the home of Lonnie Mack, my guitar idol. And we walked in the studio. It was a little 2-track studio back then, and recorded this stuff. I was 18 years old, and my hands were shaking the whole time, because when I had picked up the guitar at the age of 9 years old, the first thing I learned was Memphis. Lonnie Mack's Memphis, and I just always thought he was the greatest. He still is the greatest.
Sitting round making rhymes while thinking about the good old times. Guess I'm due for something new. I think I'll fall back in love with you. Looking up, feeling down, hanging round this same old town, doing things like I used to do, like falling back in love with you. 'Cause you got the power to make me do anything you want me to. Power over me when I'm falling back in love with you. I'll stay and play with that. It might be wrong, you know, but the feeling's right. And tomorrow we might even have a fight. But tonight, what I'm gonna do, I think I'll fall back in love with you. 'Cause you got the power to make me do anything you want me to. Power over me when I'm falling down in love with you. Break it on down. Squeezing tight, kissing slow. Ray Charles on the stereo, holding on but letting go of falling back in love with you. 'Cause you got the power to make me do and I'm a falling back in love with you. Yeah, I'm falling back in love with you. What you say, falling. Falling back in love with you. Thank you, thank you.
Jimmy, Jimmy, let me say 2 words to you.
Okay.
Lonnie Mack.
Lonnie Mack.
Down, 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 down.
Lonnie's important because he was one of the he was one of the main people that started a lot of musicians like myself and other people playing music. I heard Lonnie when I was 14 years old at a club in Newport, Kentucky, and looking up, watching him sing Further On Down the Road and songs like that. That's when I realized that's what I wanted to do. I started playing right after that.
I used to have a girlfriend in like 1968, 69. She used to work at Elektra. And she used to get me all these Lonnie Mack records. And I was nuts for the guy because, I mean, I don't know why. Maybe if I had 1,000,000 records, I would think differently, but I don't know. I had 4 records. They were all Lonnie Macks, and I loved them.
These guys are not like household words like Duran Duran, etc. I said, well, I'm from Southern Ohio. And if you're from Southern Ohio, Lonnie Mack was a legend. He was a legend. He was the best there was in those days. And that's how I grew up. If you listen to the solo and Hang On Sloopy, you'll hear that it sounds an awful lot like Lonnie Mack, probably. That's why I'm here, to hear Lonnie.
love it to any other man. I got to satisfy Susie. I got to satisfy Susie. I got to satisfy Susie. Susie so satisfy me. So you ask me if I'm happy, do I look satisfied? Susie got the way to keep the twinkle in my eye. I got to satisfy Susie. I got to satisfy Susie. I got to satisfy Susie. Susie so satisfy me. I got to satisfy Susie. Susie so satisfy me. Yeah.
Lonnie Mack is one of the people who plays it simply right.
God, I was getting so tired of. I mean, God bless the Beach Boys, but when you're when you're a blues guitar player, you know, I was really getting tired of Little Deuce Coupe and all the Beach songs, and Louie Louie, and which are great songs, but you know, I'm talking about guitar playing and stuff. And here came Lonnie Mack. Right, I was playing in Indiana too with a group called the Jokers at the time, and here come Lonnie Mack right down the middle of it all. God, what a breath of fresh air that was for me.
Wish you could see me and one time just love me like I love you. You take what you need and I take whatever you want me to. I'm just your fool, but I love you, and if I'm a fool, then that's what I'll be. You got to stop hurting me, babe. So many nights I tried to tell you, you're pulling me down, baby, and making me cry. You're driving me crazy. You got to stop hurting me, babe. You got to stop. Oh, you got to stop, baby. You go without you, babe. You got to stop hurting me, babe. You got to stop. You gotta stop, baby. You got to stop hurting me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Lord, you gotta stop, baby. Well, you gotta stop, baby. Well, you gotta stop, baby. Yeah, you gotta stop, baby. Thank you. All right, thank you very much.
You was cooking, brother. Well, my fingers get stuck on that one I got in there. I couldn't get out of it. I thought that was a new lick. I didn't know what to do. I looked at my fingers and they were just doing this, and I was I can't quit first.
Okay? Judy, come on. Judy.
Stand by.
We are still re-racking.
we were playing Asleep at the Wheel was just formed, and we were playing in Washington, D.C. And a friend of mine said, you got to go out and see this guy in Bladensburg, Maryland, at the Crossroads Bar. And his name's Roy Buchanan, and he just plays. And a guy named Danny Denver had the band, and we went down, and Roy was playing guitar there, and he was playing with his amp turned around so nobody could see the dials. You know? And he was just playing his ass off. And after we were living in West Virginia back then, and the guys from, let's see, that was Savoy Brown, they were big English bands. Everybody had heard about Roy Buchanan, and they went down. And the night I was there, I remember Savoy Brown was there, the Rolling Stones had been there the week before, and I went in as a kid, and I went backstage and I sat down with Roy, and he showed me some licks, you know, man. I was just amazed, and I had long hair and everything. And I said, yeah, I got a country band up in West Virginia. And he said, oh, you mean they're letting hippies play country music now? I said, yeah. Anyway, he was the rage. Every guitar player in D.C. would go down there and just, you know, stare at him and dig his stuff. Shut up, dog.
Not, for me, it was never just hip hip hooray, let's go on the road. It was a very lonely place to be, too. And so I was forced a lot of nights, as opposed to spending it with somebody I would enjoy being with, I'd spend it with my guitar. And teaches you something, that desperation, you know. You don't play casually. You're not sitting around casually playing. You're playing. You're, you know, when I first started learning to play the guitar seriously, it wasn't casual at all. It was violent, blind ambition, you know. I just, you know, I felt very aggressive about it, and I didn't pick it up a little here, a little there. I was put in a circumstance, too, because I was very young, of going between being, you know, someone who had a little knack for it to being able to hold my own amongst some giants at the time, and Roy Buchanan being one of them. Anyway, Roy came, and it was maybe another time Ronnie was thinking of this again. Maybe he was thinking of firing me. I don't know, I can't remember right now. But anyway, Roy came around, and I think this was like the second time that I'd ever met him. I didn't really hardly know him, and I saw him just play a little bit. But he came, and we were playing, and he was sitting in. And this guy was like a gunslinger coming up into town, right? So he got up and plugged in, and he looks at me like, you know. And so I thought, okay, you want to dance? Let's dance. And I was just at the stage where I was starting to get pretty good. You know, I was still very young, you know, maybe 17 years old, I think, by then. And he did this thing, like, we started to play, and we were going to, like, swap solos, and he did this thing where it was like he was tuning the guitar while playing. And it was like Bruce Lee swinging around one of these things before he fights you. You know, it's like by then you're like horrified already from this man has just done before your eyes. So he did like all of these tricks, you know, weird sounds and bending things down and bending the neck and everything, and playing with volume controls, and it was a very frightening experience for me. But he was a great guitar player from the beginning. I mean, it was like, I don't know if he's any better now. I think he was as good when he was born as he is now.